Hello. Hey, Will's laptop's about to die, so we're trying to find a charger real quick. In the meantime, how we doing? Oh, I love the sound of my voice in this microphone right now. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I got a beer from Indiana that Mox gave me. It is unbelievably stouty, but delicious. No, nothing. Why?
Theirs is too big too.
Because
It's actually bigger than those.
they're gaming laptops.
Oh.
Well, really, it's just your camera, dude. You could plug the camera into my thing, maybe. Huh? You had a beer from Fort Bragg skiing? What'd you have? Wait, let me guess. Scrimshaw? Scrimshaw's too light for you. I would say Stellar IPA. Nothing?
No.
So, but we need it for your... we just need the camera, huh?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I could go over and sit behind you for the night.
That'll be adorable. Oh, Thelonious. They stopped making it, unfortunately. So, soak that one in. That's one of my favorites. All right. Well, I mean, you can also take the car around to my house if you want, or run to your house. But
What's that? Plug right there.
what? This?
Yeah. Oh,
It's just a USB. What about
no, I mean, I have no problem being behind you. I just know you're kind of weirded out by it.
Well, I mean, it's like not as
Yeah, you could do just take a screenshot of me really quick and put my picture up, and
It
people
could.
won't know the difference. I mean, well, they'll know the difference.
Well-
You know what I mean?
yeah. All right, we have to figure this out real quick. 1 second.
Sorry, guys, my computer's being a bitch.
How small is it? That other one didn't fit?
Nope.
Oh, what about the one from
I checked the one from Zoe's laptop. It wouldn't work. It's bigger than yours.
know what I mean, for the Zoom. Thanks for riveting streaming, I know, but we'll get there. How was the plug for this?
Well, if it's through USB, it's not going to be powerful enough to charge it.
This one's too big too.
Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead and take a screenshot of me or we'll capture a picture of me and just put that up there, and then I'll just talk.
Well, you have a default picture anyway, right? But you also won't have the show notes over there either.
Well, I'll just open the show notes on my phone.
Okay. All right. We're going to do a quick makeshift will thing here. Actually, I'll just use. Should I do it? Actually, if I turn you off, then you have a default picture, do you not?
I think so. I think it's my avatar.
This is why I love live streaming. Live streaming.
Yep. It's just about to die.
All right. Well,
Sorry, guys.
oh, you don't have a default picture either. All right. Well, it'll be, it'll look like me talking to myself. Which just damn me making behind faces at the camera, yeah. We can rearrange this a little bit too, but it's just really kind of too tight, I feel like.
Well, take my avatar from my Facebook page.
Here, I'm going to do this. We really are going to start the show, I promise.
I'm wondering why my battery died so fast.
Was it really charged? Was it all the way
It
charged?
was 100% charged because it was plugged in at the house.
'Tis strange, my friend. Should I do this pixelated version of you? Whoops. That's not going to work. The things I capture. Okay, why don't we, what, your Facebook page you said?
Yeah.
Almost there. Hold, please. Holy crap. Things just happened. Copy, save image. Alright. Let's replace Will with a fake version of him.
It's my Funko version.
Funko Will. That'll be the name of the episode.
How about Funkofied?
Don't get crazy. Okay, here we go. Okay, we got Funko Will tonight, everyone. Welcome to Funko Town.
Funko Town.
Okay. Gordis is asking you questions about your computer.
What about it?
He's asking about the specs because obviously it sucks. Just kidding.
Well, it's also like 6 years old.
Yeah. Give me just 2 seconds. I think I have to go get my dog.
Go for it.
Talk to people.
Yeah, I bought this laptop when I returned to... Actually, gosh, it's older than that. I bought it when I returned to Cal Poly in 2010. Maybe I got it in 2012, but it's at least 6 years old. So I actually do need a new one. And actually, my desktop has died too because I lost my operating system, so I need to get a new version of Windows to update that. I'm a mess, people. Now I need to move over towards car a little bit so I can see show notes and your guys' wonderful comments. Actually, Skeen, you know what I should do is just stand right behind him and be like totally stone-faced and with no response and don't talk and just be like a creepy person behind him. Instead of a creepy person beside him. So out of all the trailers we watched, what was everybody's favorites? Yeah, Captain Marvel does look really, really good. I can't wait for it. Ooh, nice varied answers. You got Creed 2 and Dark Phoenix. I really like the look of Dark Phoenix 2. I think it's a little frustrating because Dark Phoenix is lost in the hullabaloo of the Fox Disney merger, and so it's like Disney doesn't really want to push it, or Disney doesn't really want Fox to push it because that would mean they're pushing a property that wouldn't tie into the MCU. But Fox obviously wants to push it because it'll make them money before the merger goes through. And so all the people that are going to be leaving the company after the merger, this is where they get their money. Plus, Dark Phoenix tends to be a story, I think, that'll play well globally. So, yeah, this should be interesting. I took a little poll of the audience, and they all said I'm their favorite.
Well, I mean, that's a little biased, don't you think? I mean, I wasn't here. It was the whole thing.
One person says biased, another person says honest. It's different.
Oh, you're full of shit. Okay, can we move on? Can you just go ahead and start a podcast? How do you feel about that?
Skeen says he's just sent me what should be my avatar. Let's see what he decided to show.
What is it?
Oh.
I don't want to know, do I?
No, well, okay, well, when I was traveling around the country, I stopped in Peekskill, New York, which anybody who's a pop culture geek will realize that is the hometown of the Facts of Life show. And I took a picture pointing at the street of the city limit sign. Well, I forgot that Skeen had taken that and had me showing off stackable storage. And so that's what he wanted me to use.
That sounds about right. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Did you move over here to try to get in the camera, or you just happen to be there?
No, I moved over so I could see show notes and see their comments.
Cool. Okay, let me... Damn dog's about to come in. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Hello and welcome to episode 146 of the Usual Podcast. The podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host, Marshall, and with me, faceless, is my co-host, Will. Don't touch me. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great.
Good.
Sorry, I'm great.
What are you, a mascot? And we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. What you drinking, bro?
I am drinking a delightful Newcastle Brown Ale.
Nice. I am drinking, and this is a big shout out to Mox because I was saving this for
Mox
at some point in the near future. I was kind of hoping for, I was going to save it kind of for, Extra Life or something,
right.
But he asked me about it today. I was like, did I drink that? If not, I'll drink it tonight. So I told him I would. This is from People's Brewing Company. It's called Captain Black Strap, and it is a stout. And I don't normally do stouts, but this is quite delicious. And it's from Lafayette, Indianapolis, and it's Indiana. Whoops. And it's wonderful. It's very good. It's gonna take me the entire show to drink the damn thing, but it's very good.
Give me a little taste.
Okay.
Because I can drink stouts. I just don't like the hoppy mess you normally drink.
You're a stout. So Will's tasting that, and
it's actually not bad. I would actually, if I were to ever have a chance to go to that brewery, the People's Brewery, I would actually like to see if they have a nitro infused version.
Yeah, they might.
Nitro infused
kind of
stouts,
in the vein of Old Rasputin or something from North Coast.
Old Rasputin or Red Hook Brewery has a black stout, which is a really good nitro infused.
Cool. Home of Purdue University. Thanks, Keen. Indeed.
Boilermaker.
So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I am at Darth Pops on Twitter, and Will is at Admiral Griggs. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and Plex. So give us a time to give us positive ratings, like us, share us, tell your friends, that kind of thing.
Seriously, it's the easiest thing you could do to help us out.
Indeed. No one ever does it, but we would like it if you did.
Rudy, you're new.
Gorgeous. Teespring.com/store/usual podcast. You can support us that way, get your gear and merch. And we do have the timestamps in the show notes. If you're not a SWTOR fan, we don't have a ton of SWTOR this week. But again, it's kind of a content drought, if you will, in SWTOR.
There is a little bit of a content drought.
So we'll get through that, and we have some pretty cool stuff for Star Wars this week. And I'm looking forward to what we got in pop culture. We're going to talk some Captain Marvel and some other things, so it's going to be great. So thank you to everybody who's in the chat room. Thank you to everybody who was in for trailer time. We appreciate that. We watched some awesome trailers tonight. And if before we get to our next thing, of course, everybody in the chat room will do our best to keep an eye on chat. So throw your stuff in there. And but dude, I feel like we sound amazing.
We do sound amazing. Really quick before you talk about the gear, though, I do want to go back to Teespring because Skeen really pointed out something in the chat.
Oh, yes.
Extra Life is coming up first week in November. Very important charity, and you can support Extra Life through us by going to teespring.com/TUP, the number 4, kids. That's TUP for kids. It's the usual podcast for kids. And you can get your own Extra Life usual shirt, and all the proceeds go to Extra Life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skeen.
Indeed. Thanks, Skeen. All right, man. So,
so the gear.
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't say what I'm about to say, but because of what I'm teaching this year, we have a big grant for technology and for my pathway that I'm creating for the school.
Right.
And I just ordered a bunch of gear so kids can create their own content, and I'm trying out these new mics. They're basically the same mics we had, but they are not dynamic mics. They're the cardioid ones where you don't have to... Well, basically, it doesn't pick up as much background noise. And we sound phenomenal.
We do sound... Well, I always sound phenomenal.
That's not very good.
Pickle.
So the point is, I'm trying this out, and basically, if I sound this good next week, it's because I either stole these again from work, or I bought them for our show.
Borrowed.
Little column A, little column B. So, man, I feel like we sound good. I'm ready to roll. I'm back, and I can't wait to talk about what I did, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's get to Star Wars: The Old Republic. We forgot something.
No.
Drinking Buddies.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So, best way to support us, patreon.com/usual podcast. Big shout out to Mr. John Skeen, who is our honorary all-time drinking buddy, who is in the chat room. Eddie, Zen, and that's it. Those are 3.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and actually all of you have qualified for shirts, and I believe I've reached out to all you guys. So I just need to know what shirts you guys want so I can send them to you.
Yeah.
So tweet at me or something, get a hold of me, and I'll send out comments to you guys again this week, so I know what to order for you guys.
And if you want to become a drinking buddy, definitely check out our Patreon page, and we'll talk about that more later in the show. So, Star Wars: The Old Republic, dude. Big community shout-outs this week. And the biggest one is in next month, November.
Yes.
Excuse me. Yes, we are in October 2nd, which actually comes into play in a minute. November podcaster raid stream. We're organizing, Dr. Swotor is organizing it.
Yes, he is.
And it's going to be pretty awesome. It's basically the podcast community doing one massive raid. It's a 16-man raid. I have a link in the show notes. It's going to be Saturday, November 10th. And unfortunately, it's going to be on the Starforge server, so I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. But
it's basically going to be pucked on crack times 20.
Indeed. So some of the people, I have a link to the tweet in the show notes. It's kind of cool. People from Mutini, Bad Feeling, us, the Council, Passionate Casual, State of the Old Republic. Who else we got? What's the other one? Just flew out of my head. But anyway, Max the Gray and Seema from their show and everybody else. So it's going to be great. There's going to be a ton of us, and I'm going to have to probably DPS, which is going to be horrific. So definitely check that out. I might stream part of it. I don't know if they even need streamers, but the bottom line is, I'm going to be DPSing probably because I don't think they need a tank.
You're going to accidentally throw out taunts all the time, and they're going to start yelling at you.
That's probably what's going to happen. So here we are. But we'll talk more about that stuff when it gets closer. To answer your question, what level am I? I have max level characters all over the place, but not on that server.
Yeah, actually.
So I'm going to have to boost a character and then figure that out.
Rudy's actually never joined us in chat before. But we do play SWTOR car streams occasionally for What's an Ops group, which we'll get to later.
Right.
I stream very rarely, but I do have some news on that. I'm going to be streaming for the next 2 Saturdays for a specific reason. But we've been there since beta, so we have max levels all over the place.
I've done all the class stories.
We have max levels on max levels.
Done all the content. I'm good to go. And one big thing as far as community goes, the Community Cantina tour, which was supposed to be around New York Comic Con,
yes,
has been canceled.
Yes, it has.
Instead, they're going to do a live stream Cantina event on October 11th, and that's going to be 3 p.m. Pacific. And I'm actually really looking forward to that. I don't work that day because of we have a break. I don't think I'm leaving town till either later that day or the next day. So yeah, either way, I'll catch it later, but I would like to catch this one live. They're going to be talking about the new gameplay, reveal what planet they're going to be able to explore in the new storyline, spoiler-free overview of the new Empire versus Republic storyline, meet some new and returning characters, including companions, and they're going to talk about Master Mode, Gods of the Machine, and walk through some of the great guild changes that are coming through, which I'm looking forward to, which is like Heraldry PvP challenges and that kind of thing. So I think that's going to be a great stream. It's a good compromise. I don't know if compromise is the right word, but, consider...
It's a decent substitute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't 100% know why they're not going to make New York, but there's a lot of things going on right now. And I don't know if they actually put a reason in. They just said... difficult decision to cancel it. Yeah, they didn't say why. But, it is what it is. They had to cancel it. So they're substituting it with a live stream event. That's my dog whining.
That is your daughter.
It could be.
All right, so what's next?
All right, so Week in Game, dude. What did you do this week, my friend?
I did absolutely nothing in game this week.
Nor did I.
But for the next 2 Saturdays, I have decided that I need a lot of help.
Okay.
Those of you who know me know I don't play well with others in game a lot. I mean, I raid.
Hold on real quick. Skeen said because of the shooting at the event in Florida. Oh,
okay. That totally makes sense.
That makes sense. Yep. Thanks, Skeen.
It's not that I don't like. I'm a fairly antisocial player.
I had no idea.
But there's a lot of content that I haven't actually been able to finish because of that. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm actually going to live stream myself playing it, and I plan on playing for probably the entire time I'm awake on those 2 days. So We're looking at like 12 hours at least.
Nice.
I've streamed. I mean, forget food eating and stuff like that. But I plan on finishing up Star Fortresses and Eternal Championship and World Bosses and stuff like that. And I'll be live tweeting it, and people can come and help me and join me and everything. But I really want to clean all this stuff out of my mission queue.
Yeah, dude. I think that's a good thing to do. So yeah, jump in there and help old Griggsy out. That'd be good.
Because I'd like to get all that emptied out of the mission queue. So once I get to Extra Life next month, I have just a much more streamlined way to go into that.
Indeed. I'm with you.
How about you?
I did not play this game.
And why did you not play this week?
Or any other game. We didn't also do our show last week as well. I went on the Writing Excuses retreat, which happened to be on a Royal Caribbean cruise boat that went through the Caribbean.
Why don't you tell people what Writing Excuses is?
Writing Excuses is a podcast done by Brandon Sanderson, Howard Taylor, Dan Wells, and Mary Robinette Kowal, 4 very famous authors. With the exception of Brandon Sanderson, I got to hang out with the other 3 and countless other...
Did Sanderson not slum it?
Sanderson had a conflict. So he actually, the first night we arrived, he did a class. He did a lecture.
Okay, so at least he showed up.
Yeah, he showed up. I will never fly American Airlines again. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. Second, I got a flight canceled coming back from San Diego after I missed my flight.
Yes, you did.
And they canceled my flight literally when I got over the hill in cell phone range. They canceled my flight. And so I'm sitting in the Willett at the Safeway gas station in Willits trying to redo my flight. So I got a new flight, American Airlines again. But then there was a bunch of weather around Houston. Long and the short of it, I did not get there in time for the signing that Sanderson and all the other authors were doing.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But that said, it was 16 hours of travel. Finally got there. This is probably one of the greatest things I've ever done.
It sounds like it.
Not only did I get to leave the country, I got what they call a fire hose worth of information and to help me with my writing. I got to make some amazing friends, and I got to stand on top of a Mayan ruin in Belize, which was pretty cool. I did a lot of stuff last week, and I'm really happy about it, and I'm going to do it again next year. But that said, some of the connections I made and some of the things I learned, I feel like are really going to help me going forward with what I would like to do, make more time for. So
That's cool.
I had an amazing time, which is why we didn't record, and which is why I have not been playing this game. I've been really stressed out trying to make this thing happen.
You said you got a fire hose worth of information. And for those of you old people in the chat, it totally made me think of UHF with Weird Al when he goes, "You get a drink from the water or the fire hose."
But yeah, man.
So that is uber exciting for your writing.
Yeah, I mean, there was Dongwon was there. He was an agent. Maurice Broadus, black author. I had a really nice connection with him. Made a couple really amazing friends. So big shout out to Nick and
so
Josh.
I'm getting shoved to the side now.
And yeah, you're getting shoved to the side. Let me give my shout outs to Nick and Josh and Ilan and Krista and everybody else I made friends with. It was amazing. And check my Instagram and stuff, Darth Pops, if you want to see some of the stuff, the picture I put up. But
awesome. I'm very excited for you, my friend.
I don't want to keep going with that, but at the same time, I'm still kind of reeling from all of it. And
why don't you tell them how much you traveled on Sunday?
So Sunday, real quick, in a nutshell, we started at 9 o'clock queuing up. It took about 2.5 hours to get off the boat. Okay. Then once that was through customs and everything, then a 45-minute shuttle ride to the airport, then an hour in the airport, then hour flight, then 45 minutes in airport, then a 3-hour flight, then a 40-minute Uber ride to my car, and then a 3.5-hour drive. I started at 9 in the morning. I got home at almost midnight.
Yeah, and then you were at work the next morning.
And I was at work yesterday, zombified.
Please tell me you at least saying I'm on a boat.
Yeah, that was pretty quick to come out for most of us. But anyway, enough about that. But that's why I have been kind of scattered the last few weeks. I'm almost back to sanity. We have a week off and one more thing coming up next week, and then we'll kind of be back to our regular routine, which I'm looking forward to.
Cool.
All right, man, let's talk about some news in SWTOR. So 5.9.3 was delayed and to today, actually, while we're recording this, and it came up today. So as you're listening to this, which is probably at least a couple days after this, October 2nd, Fame and Fortune 5.9.3, Fame and Fortune. The patch notes for that are pretty straightforward, but the Vanden Hutball, Galaxy's favorite sport is back in an all-new venue, the Sky Shredder. Located in the scenic world of Vanden, Hutball fanatics can look forward to new and deadlier challenges as they battle for victory. So, new Hutball.
Cool.
It's kind of cool. Double Rewards event is going to be October 9th through 16th. So, that got pushed back as well.
Right.
So, we'll have some double XP action.
They do usually push back the double XP events whenever they do a patch pushback.
Which is good. There's some interesting changes. Free-to-play players can now chat in groups and guilds, which was a restriction before. Some people have some trepidation about that, but I think it's going to be fine. I think a lot of people are worried about gold spammers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's going to be all right. There's some other things here. I don't think they're mostly bug fixes. I don't want to go into that, but the Overlook inside Rishi's Stronghold was returned to its normal price of 1.5 million credits. And,
I'm glad I got it early.
Right. And characters that use server transfer will have their solo and group rating reset if they're above 1,200 rating, which is interesting. And the small yield target for Conquest is now 170, down from 200,000. So they're adjusting things. There's a bunch of class and combat changes as well. Let's see. Increase the Command XP reward for winning a Galactic Starfighter match, which I think, honestly, has been a really long time coming. I know people were kind of the same with PvP. You just don't get enough.
You just don't get enough from it.
CXP.
Yeah.
There's a couple changes to some flashpoints and operations, but they're just mostly bug fixes. And the last thing, there's items and economy. Yeah, there wasn't really anything else. Oh, level sync now applies to all Knights of the Fallen Empire and Knights of the Eternal Throne chapters, which is cool. and fix a number of cinematics where the game or walls, companions, environment were not being drawn. So that's good. Maybe, especially for new players, they don't want to see all those glitches this long into the game.
So basically, we're not seeing lattice work Twi'lek cues anymore.
I think that's important. And yeah, that's about it. Cool. So I'm looking forward to. I got to do some work to get ready for this event next month. So I got to boost a character and try to get some gear going and figure that out. So anyway, it'll be fine. I mean, I can go in with entry level gear too, but I'd like to. My gear is so nice on my character. I was so bummed when they're like, "Oh, we're seeing on Starforge." It's like, cool, that's great. And yeah, Skeen, to answer your question, Sanderson did not show up. He will be on the boat next year though, and it's actually going to the Caribbean. It's going to not the Caribbean. It's going to Jamaica, which is the Caribbean, obviously. But there are a couple different stops next year. So I'm stoked I got to do it. Looks like
it's going to the islands instead of the coast.
Yeah, so it's actually going back to Cozumel, which was our last stop coming back. But the middle stop is different. I can't remember what it is now. But it's 2 days on land this year, and there's a big tour of NASA next year.
Awesome.
They made a connection with
so you're going to the Johnson Space Center?
Yeah, so what's crazy is after we left, all the authors stuck around and went to NASA to do a big podcast and stuff. And
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. So I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I'm bummed Maurice isn't going to be there next year, at least as of not yet. But he was one of my favorite people, him and Kathy Chung, and just some really phenomenal connections. So I'm excited about it.
Very cool.
So enough about that. Really quick, I want to throw this in here because I feel like this is kind of hitting the U.S. now. Do you want to talk about this or not? The video game addiction thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have an article in here, and I'm only going to talk about it. It's on futurism.com, which I love that website. But video game addiction is real, and professionals aren't prepared to help. And what's interesting is when I was teaching Ready Player One to my English class the last few years, I always show them this video that talked about game addiction.
Right.
And it focused a lot on Asia and Korea and that kind of thing. Which was interesting is that this article focuses on the United States and how they're just not sure how to kind of approach it in the ways they're as the same way as other things. A lot of people attribute it to the same as like drug addiction and that kind of thing. And there's the equivalent of what they have in Asia is like a place to go and help you with that. So it's like in Asia they called it, or in Korea they called it a internet rescue school.
Okay.
And I can't remember what they call it here. It was like,
well, basically anything can be an addiction if it impacts you financially,
right,
socially, or physically. So, if it impacts you going to work, or if it impacts you being able to pay your bills,
right,
or if it impacts you being able to make common human connection,
yeah,
then it's an addiction.
And that's kind of the point of this, is that, they're trying to treat it, and these places are very expensive. There's 4 of them in Washington State, actually, and they're called Restart. They can go up to 24 months, 8 weeks to 24 months of treatment. And I imagine this has to do with anything kind of tech. What they're saying is it's more tech, not just video games, but tech-based, like, phone addiction or
right? Any sort of screen addiction could be a problem.
Right. So I only put that in there only in that if this is something that you or someone else is going through, there are people to help, and I don't want to bring the thing down, but at the same time, I think it's really important.
Is there a number in this article that people
I'm
can
working
reach
on
out
that,
to?
Skeen. Say it again. 1 second. I just realized it still said trailer time.
Loser.
Oh, hush. There we go. Yeah. So let's see. There is a number. There's not a number on this article, but definitely reach out.
Why don't you say the company that they're talking about? You said Restart?
Yeah, it's called Restart in Washington.
Yeah, so just Google Restart Washington, and I'm sure you can find their homepage.
Actually, there's a link to Vice News, it says here.
Also, if I remember correctly, the first couple weeks of the Garmin, the Ralph Report. Garmin had an addiction specialist on to talk about video game addiction.
Yeah.
So go back to the archives of the Ralph Report and at ralphreport.com or on iTunes and check out their interviews because he had an addiction specialist on.
And for me, man, it's like, you know, I love, as much as I love video games, I've had students who I felt like maybe were treading the line a little bit.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
It worries me.
As someone, you know, I've always had I've never been ADHD, but I remember when I was a kid and I would be sitting at home watching TV during commercials. I'd pull up my book. I'd always have to have my mind going something.
Be doing something.
And now with smartphones, I mean, my screen time is constant.
And Skeen just brought up, he said social media, that might be worse. And I agree. You know, I mean, we're in a consumer culture to the point to where, and it's kind of instant gratification, you know, interactions. So, you know, we get really wrapped up with, okay, what's the next thing that's going to make me happy?
You make a great point. I mean, when we're already a consumerist culture and then you add in instant data, instant digital content, it's ridiculous.
Which is why I think teaching is becoming more difficult as well, because you sit there and you're like, okay, well, let's do this thing. And a kid doesn't want to sit in a chair and read a book or listen to somebody talk when they could be Snapchatting with their friends.
Well, I'll tell you just an instance from today. I was in the computer labs and there's a couple students, I'm not going to name names, but they came in and they said, and I said, well, why aren't you guys in class? And they said, well, we were just going to be watching a movie.
Yeah.
And then the teacher allowed them to come and work on an essay, which, I mean, at least they're working on an essay, but there's a reason why they're showing the movie. I get it,
but the movie is part of the curriculum, right?
Exactly.
I mean, so that worries me a little bit, and which is why I'm glad that I'm teaching what I'm teaching now, honestly, because it's so hard to get kids to appreciate reading and literature and stories, you know. Just, you know, they have too many other things, you know.
Exactly.
So, on a lighter note and an EA BioWare note, Anthem is coming out in February. And I put a link in the show notes. February 22nd is when it launches. And this is a list of ways with links and such and things to sign up on how to play the game before it launches.
Which reminds me, did you see what
I did.
Jessica said?
Yeah. So, I did see that, which
All
is
right.
great. But there's the Play It First trial. You could pre-order the game and you get it early. Definitely check this out. If you are into Anthem or thinking you want to play Anthem, check out the link in the show notes. There are lots of ways to play it, hopefully before it comes out. And I'm intrigued. I actually really would like to try this before it comes out, before I buy it, honestly. So
cool. And actually, I've got a news story about a different game, similar idea. I'll talk about in usual roundup.
Yeah, there is an official beta-ish thing going on, Skeen, yeah. It depends on how you approach it. Yeah, definitely check it out. I don't want to spend a bunch of time talking about Anthem right now, but let me find out. No, actually, now that you said that, hold on one second. There's a VIP demo, which is those who've pre-ordered the game. Early access begins February 15th, and that is Origin Access Premier members. Play It First trial, which is Origin Access Basic for PC people and Xbox One, which they get 10 hours to play the first trial, and that carries over to the game. And then they have a Q&A. So those are the ways to do it. And, you know, there are lots of ways to play this game early, apparently, which is pretty good, I think. So, ready?
I'm ready. Pew, 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 pew.
I wasn't that into the first Red Dead Redemption, honestly, Gortys. But, I mean, I'm glad it's coming out. But, I mean, that game, Red Dead Redemption, came out so long ago.
Yeah, and personally, I really don't play first-person shooters, so.
Yeah. So, Star Wars section, dude. Let's see. What do you got? Oh, this is me.
This is, actually, I was going to put this one in, too, and this is big.
What do you think about this?
It makes a lot of sense.
So Star Wars, we're bearing the lead, obviously. A new study suggests significant amount of Last Jedi trolls are politicized bots.
Yeah, well, basically, what they did a study of the because you know everyone's studying all social media content now, and it turns out a lot of the trolls that were hating on the Last Jedi were done by a lot of the same sort of Eastern European troll bots that were working during the last election.
Exactly. So, I mean, It's interesting though, and the article points out, as well as the film did, the divisiveness of it is still really
and it
out
is
there.
Yeah, and it is a divisive movie, but I think this shows that
it might have been driven by something.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it actually kind of ties in with with a story. Well, I didn't put it in the show notes, and I don't think you added it. But basically, there's this thing going out right now that Lady Gaga fans are
I saw that.
are basically trolling Venom with bad reviews because
I didn't put that in there.
no, Skeen mentioned it in Twitter.
Oh, that's right,
Twitter,
yeah.
and I hadn't added it, but it just kind of ties in with this article.
Mm-hmm.
That they're basically trolling Venom because they want it to drive down box office, so it drives up Star is Born box office.
Right. I don't get it. I mean, there's enough content, enough people that are consuming content to where you don't have to, actively sabotage other people's content.
Well, it's the same way that I think Bieber fans and Taylor Swift fans were doing the same thing to their rivals.
Good point. So this is a big one.
This is huge.
Lucasfilm president and Star Wars producer Kathleen Kennedy gets a contract extension, and is it 2021?
Yeah, it's 3 extra years.
Yeah.
And actually, this is kind of big because there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, Lucasfilm is in trouble because of Solo and all this stuff." And this just shows that Disney, like long term, is not worried about how Solo performed.
Right.
Because yes, it lost money compared to everything else,
Sure.
but it really wasn't a failure.
No, it wasn't a failure, and they can use that as a springboard for some of these other stories. And honestly, if they go forward with the things that I think they're going to do, like with some of the people that were in that movie, then people will go back to Solo.
Yeah, and
they'll
basically
buy it on Blu-ray or they'll get it on iTunes.
right, exactly. All them talk about it losing money. That's just box office receipt,
Right.
and I believe that was just domestic. It didn't include it. Granted, it didn't do as well overseas
Right.
as say the Meg did, which is weird. But it doesn't include digital release, Blu-ray release, or the book release,
Right.
which just happened. So it's Lucasfilm is fine.
No, I'm with you. I mean, they're going to be fine either way, but I mean,
Exactly.
I don't think Kathleen Kennedy staying at the helm is going to be an issue.
No,
Honestly.
not at all.
But we'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to episode 9. I think episode 9 is going to be a really big moment for Star Wars going forward. If it's well received, then they can kind of feel better about the other stuff they're doing with the Disney streaming service coming, which I'm going to talk about some of the stuff here in a second. I think that if basically what I'm trying to say is episode 9 does well, they won't have to stress about it. They can maybe go
Right.
back to Kenobi and some of this other
Yeah,
stuff.
well, I think 9's going to do well regardless because it's the last in the saga that has a built-in
Skywalker saga too.
exactly right. So I think the one that's really the one that's going to be the make or break question mark one is the first in the Rian Johnson trilogy
True.
because it's going to be a holdover of talent but not story.
Right.
And so that's going to be the one if people are going to go see that.
What I find interesting is, thank you, chat. Yeah, Solo's great. I loved Solo. My kids loved it. I watched I took them to the theater. They liked it. I mean, it was a blast.
My nephew Ryan, who actually was at Pucked with us, it's his favorite.
Yeah. So that said, let's get on to TV Star Wars stuff. The new Star Wars live action deal.
Jon Favreau.
With Favreau at the helm is reportedly starting to film next week-ish. And I think it's actually kind of this week. I think this article's a little old.
Right. It's shortly.
Yeah.
Which just makes sense because if they're trying to get it for the streaming service, which they are, and that streaming service is going to be starting in the end of next year, beginning of 2020, they're going to need to start filming now.
Exactly. And we're almost done with Star Wars, and I still have Sorter section up here. Good on me. Okay, so, and speaking of TV, The Resistance, and a new animated TV show is, good night. See you tomorrow, Gordas. The Resistance TV show is going to get a companion comic book, reportedly. It's a rumor right now.
Well,
but
I mean, we kind of saw that coming. I mean, first of all,
most things are going
Yeah,
to.
I mean, we already had a comic of Kanan
Exactly.
from Rebels, so it just makes sense.
Right.
Especially since one of the main stars is Poe Dameron, and he already has his own comic.
Yeah. I'm going to take a second and go ahead and capture this bad boy here.
It's really good.
It's phenomenal. I like to put a little merch in here sometimes. Hot Toys is doing a Bespin gown Princess Leia figure from Empire Strikes Back.
Which is a phenomenal
and-
outfit that you don't see enough.
And holy crap, does that look good.
It looks really good. Very good facial characteristics.
Yeah, oops. Sorry, I'm getting used to this new thing here. But that is... it's just...
The eyes are piercing.
I mean, it's gorgeous. It looks... I mean, the craftsmanship on that is unbelievable.
Exactly.
So, definitely, it's $1 zillion, but if you can afford it, get it. All right, man. Should we get to the usual roundup? We only have a few stories, which is good.
Yeehaw.
Gaming. Marvel Puzzle Quest. Go.
Yeah, so starting... okay, for those of us who know us, we play Marvel Puzzle Quest. And really quick off the bat, I'd like to thank Skeen for taking over the helm of our little guild group there, which if you want to join us, we happen to have a few extra slots right now, and it's called Griggs Boys, GRIGGS BOYS.
Yep.
But starting October 4th, so in 2 days, the 5th anniversary of the game is happening, and there's going to be new characters, including Cable,
Nice.
and which is the introduction of the first Cable character in that game, and a whole bunch of prizes and giveaways and everything. So if you, it's a match 3 game, but it has great story content, and
Nice.
it's a lot of fun. So if you feel like playing, come out and join us.
Cool. I don't know what it means, but Skeen subscribed with Twitch Prime, so thanks, Skeen, for subscribing to us. You're my hero.
Well, he subscribed to Twitch Prime, the paid service for Twitch. Thanks for outing him.
But he subscribed to us?
Well, I think he was already a subscriber to a follower of us. Anyway, so the next thing is what is the next Assassin's Creed game?
Oh my God. Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes, and it's big. It's coming out, and it's a major title
It's going
coming
to be
out.
a big deal.
You're going to have an opportunity to play it early for free because there's a new Google streaming game service called Google Stream, I think is what it's called. And if you follow the link in our show notes and take it to it, and the game comes out, I want to say it's October 19th or 16th, right around there.
Yeah.
If you sign up beforehand, you could be selected to be part of a pre-game beta.
Nice.
Well, not beta because the game's coming out early, but beta's done. But play it for free on the streaming service. And the thing is, it's in browser.
Yeah. That's cool.
Which, even considering that, it still plays at 1080p on a 30 megahertz or 60 megahertz monitor. So
Nice.
you're still going to be able to get great quality graphics, even though it's in browser.
And I was right. Thank you, Skeen. Because he clicked the thing, we get a thing. We get a bonus.
Oh, we do.
Okay. Don't get
Thank you.
so close to the mic. See, but I can't tell the difference. Good mics.
Exactly. So, it's
Thanks,
exciting.
Skeen. You're my hero.
So it's exciting. So if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, definitely go and check this out.
Yeah, so the next thing we have in here, and I think I'm not going to play this, and I should have probably done it in trailer time if I was going to. But I guess on the Blu-ray for the Solo movie is a Galaxy's Edge, and this is Disney Parks news now. Galaxy's Edge, Millennium Falcon ride is kind of detailed out.
Oh,
on
that's
that.
cool. So basically a little featurette.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little featurette. I watched part of it earlier.
And this is a special feature. It's only on the Target Blu-ray of Solo.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that. So on that, and it's there's an ad playing, so I'm not going to bother with that right now. But we have a link in the show notes. Definitely check it out. We'll probably talk about that more next week because I would like to know more about that.
Absolutely.
So Netflix, really? That's amazing. Did you put this in here?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
It's
can't
the
read it.
Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh yeah, so
I forgot you don't
season 4 of Black Mirror is coming out fairly soon. And for those of you who watched, what was it, USS?
Yeah, the USS. I love that episode too.
Anyways, it's really good. It has Chris Milioti and Jesse Plemons in it.
Yeah.
Nominated for a whole bunch of Emmys that just happened last week. They're really going all out for season 4, and they're doing an interactive choose your own adventure style.
Phenomenal.
And this isn't new.
Right.
I mean, actually, Ayn Rand, who most people know from her books,
Right.
she actually wrote a play called Night of January the 16th.
Okay.
And it's a courtroom drama. But the thing is at the beginning of the play, 12 jurors are chosen from the audience.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they are the jury. They play the jury, and so they choose the ending of the play, whether guilty or not guilty.
Badass.
And it's really good. So it's.
I'm eager to see how they do this.
Yeah, it has a strong. So I'm guessing it's going to be through Twitter polls.
Yeah, they'll do like the episode. They'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
cool.
so basically all the outcomes are. I mean, everything's going to be filmed, and which is going to be really interesting because it'll all be filmed, and then obviously they're just going to have a live director chooses which way it goes.
Which way it goes. Yeah.
But the cool thing is when that comes out digitally or on Blu-ray,
We'll have all the other
having
ones.
all those different things is going to be cool.
I think that's awesome. I love Black Mirror. I was talking about that on the boat with some people. Just
On the boat.
I mean, just talking about just dystopias and those type of sci-fi sort of alternate futures it's one of my favorite things to watch because it's like, man, that's messed up, but that could totally happen.
Exactly. That's what's so weird about it.
Hulu kicks off Halloween.
Yeah, so
Halloween.
Yeah, there's if you haven't noticed all throughout social media, because AMC does it, and I believe Turner Classic Movies, and everybody does their own October Halloween countdown things, right? It's like, today we're watching the Blair Witch Project, or today we're watching Halloween, or whatever. Hulu's doing this, but they're calling it Huluween, and not only do they have a whole bunch of Halloween movies that are available to stream during the month, but they're also highlighting up-and-coming directors who have their own horror short films.
Oh, really?
And they're playing those throughout the entire month, too.
Oh, that's badass, dude.
Yeah, so I think that's very exciting.
Nice. And I didn't hear about this, but I probably feel like I should have, considering Brandon Sanderson just talked about his... gave us a lecture and talked about the Wheel of Time, because he took over the Wheel of Time for Robert Jordan when he died.
Yeah, so bearing the lead a little bit, Robert Jordan's seminal saga fantasy masterpiece of The Wheel of Time, right up there with
Tolkien,
but the Towers and the Song of Shannara, all those, it's right up there. They're doing a TV version on Amazon.
Awesome.
And also, I didn't put it out here, but also don't forget the second season of Aaron Mahnke's Lore is debuting on Amazon next week.
Right. And I need to finish the first season of Lore, actually.
It's so good.
I watched, there was one that was a little slow, and I kind of stopped and I went back. It was the one about it was the third episode, I think. They kept burying people. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, the one about the made a tonic.
The tonic one.
Which was because all
I love the podcast.
Yeah, well, they did an hour show from a 20-minute podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had to fluff it up a little bit.
For sure. Okay, so we got some movie news, real reviews, female-driven 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, so...
Is that really happening?
Yeah, it's come out that they're actually deep into pre-production on a 21 Jump Street female-driven version, because of course, they're not doing, Jonah Hill and I can see him.
Homeboy.
Yeah. Step Up. Magic Mike.
I'm not going to remember right now.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, so they're not coming back to do the film itself, but I believe they're producers on it, and they might make cameos. But what I like is it's not just a gender-flipped version of it.
Right.
They're taking... it's in the same universe, and it just happens to be about female cops.
Nice.
That go undercover, because there's so much more that you can do. I mean, if you remember the Drew Barrymore early 2000s movie Never Been Kissed.
Yeah.
About a journalist going undercover. There's so much more, so much different stuff you can do with an undercover female than you can do with an undercover male.
For sure.
Channing Tatum. Thank you.
Sue, Vin Diesel teases female-driven Fast and the Furious spinoff.
Yeah, well, he's filming his latest major movie is I think he's in Italy or something filming a movie right now, and it's funny because he did it in an Instagram story, and he was being visited by Paul Walker's brother, who helped finish off the filming of Fast 7, and the Hobbs and Jason Statham Rock spinoff has gone into production this week. Okay. So that's in production. But he kind of let it slip, and then he trailed off like he wasn't supposed to talk about it. But he said that there's going to be a female-centered spinoff of the Fast movies. And the thing is I don't think, again, it's not going to be like... I honestly think it might be like Michelle Rodriguez and... Charlize Theron and stuff
Right.
like that being in it. So it's already characters we know, but it'll be kind of cool. It's centered on them.
All right. And then we got Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah, this one is kind of interesting. Indiana Jones 5 is obviously being written right now. And if I remember correctly, it's being written by, I think it's Jonathan Kasdan. He's the one that wrote Solo. I think he wrote Solo.
Yeah, he came in and, yeah.
Right, it's Lawrence Kasdan's son.
Right, yeah.
He's basically writing it, but they've also come out and said that it's going to be much more global in scope, not in story, because obviously the last one is global too, because it took place in South America.
Sure.
But the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was almost entirely filmed in the U.S.
Yeah.
Whereas the first three movies were actually filmed on location in Florence or in India and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're doing that with the production this time too. They're going around the world to give it that actual global feel.
Very cool. Now this thing is weird. This Deadpool Christmas movie thing.
I had no idea about this until you put this in the show notes, and I read the article, and I'm even more confused.
I'm confused after I read it. So most people thought they were just going to re-release Deadpool 2 in theaters as a PG-13.
Yeah, I'd heard rumors about that a couple months ago, but I didn't know about the PG-13 version.
Now it looks like Ryan Reynolds is talking about there's going to be it's like a Christmas thing.
Well, Ryan Reynolds doesn't really say anything. He likes to post memes and post pictures and stuff. And he posted an image of him of Deadpool reading a story to I believe an adult Fred Savage, a la Peter Falk and Fred Savage in Princess Diaries.
Yeah, and it says. Somebody says, I've heard the planned title for the Christmas Deadpool movie is a Deadpool Before Christmas. But I just think, honestly, I think it's going to be a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2.
Right,
honestly.
but from the article it says what they're also hypothesizing is that it might be bookended by...
Like this story, like let me tell you a story kind
right,
of
like
thing.
how Peter Falk is telling Fred Savage the story of Princess Bride.
Right.
It's Deadpool telling Fred Savage the child version of Deadpool 2.
Yeah, and I think that's probably our best bet. I don't think it's a brand new thing. I mean,
total it's going to be maybe 15-20 minutes of new footage.
And it might be kind of fun to go see Deadpool 2 again in the theaters, but that said,
I think it'll be kind of interesting just to see what it's like.
Right, for sure.
And real quick, I can't remember if I put it in the Disney section, but talking about, it's called Deadpool Before Christmas. This is the 30th anniversary of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
And, thinking of Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton, it's the 30th anniversary of Beetlejuice.
There we go. I was like, that seems a little
And
long.
this weekend, the 5th, Beetlejuice is getting returned to theaters for a weekend only.
Oh, kick-ass.
So we
cool.
won't see it. But
No,
if you're in a large market, I'm sure you can go see Beetlejuice in theaters if you like.
For sure. All right, we're almost done. Phoenix director reveals why the release date was switched back. We talked about that in trailer time.
We did, and we talked about the new date, which is June 9th.
All right, Wizarding World, new Harry Potter video game footage leaks. I saw a couple things about
this just got leaked in the last couple of days. And the thing is it's sending Potter fans crazy.
Right.
Because it's an RPG, and they're not sure, but it's either done by Rocksteady or by Avalanche.
Oh, actually.
Or they both might be involved.
Okay.
But the footage that showed looks phenomenal. So we have that to look forward to.
Nice.
A massive RPG game.
That is.
That should be cool.
That's gonna really obsess some people.
Oh yeah. Hello, Jesse.
Yeah. And the last thing I have in here, man, just dropped today. San Diego Comic-Con 2019 returning registration. So the date has been set. And again, this is I can't believe we're already talking about convention news, but this is if you went to San Diego Comic-Con last year.
If you had tickets.
If you had tickets for last year, you have the opportunity to buy pre-registration tickets for next year, Saturday, October 13th at 9 a.m.
And your odds are much better to do it now than new registration.
Absolutely. And it's a lottery. It's the whole thing, as it always is. The link in the show notes has the prices and stuff. What's interesting is our press passes are up. And so I'm not really sure what we should do. So we have to talk about that.
Well, honestly, I don't think we qualify for pre-reg. I think we'd have to go back in as new reg.
No way. I'll have to send an email or something. There's no way. But anyway, we'll talk.
Yes, but basically, by going through pre-reg as opposed to new reg, your odds are 50-50 instead of like 16%.
I don't know if it's 50-50, but yeah, it's better than. It's hard to. It's still even hard in pre-reg.
Well, no, because basically what it is say for example, last year 100,000 people got tickets. I'm just using that as a round number.
Sure.
What they do is for pre-reg, they take half those tickets. And so the people that had the 100,000 tickets last year are trying for 50,000 tickets now. So you are 50-50.
Yeah.
And those the extra 50,000 tickets go into the new reg.
Right. All right, man.
All right.
Good show. I'm glad to be back behind the mic. It's been a crazy few weeks.
I'm happy to be behind the new pop filter.
And I'm actually, it looks like you're hiding from me behind it. You're so weird. I like the new pop filters. I think next week we will sound the same. And
on the good ship.
Okay.
Lolly. Sorry.
Right, are you done?
Go ahead.
Thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm at Darth Pops on Twitter, and Will is at Admiral Griggs. You can find us on all the social medias and all that, and iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and Plex. Support the show, teespring.com/store/usualpodcast, audibletrial.com/usualpodcast, and the best way to support us, of course, is patreon.com/usualpodcast. Give us $1 or $2 an episode. Get blooper reels, early content, trailer time, all kinds of stuff from us early.
Word.
And dude, we gotta get out of here. So what are we doing?
Well, I know for a fact that with this new pop filter and mic, I'm having a fun.
Oh my god.
So I want to make sure you all have a fun.
Don't drag this out. All right, let's have
Are you having a fun?
Have a fun. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.
So stupid. I was just trying to figure out where you were going to go with that.
You love me.
Inaccurate. All right, thanks, guys. Chat room. Skeen, you're amazing. We'll get you on at the end of the month, dude. It's been chaos. I am running on fumes right now, and I still got to take this crazy person home. So, yeah, we'll get you on towards the end of the month. I have a golf tournament next in a couple weeks, and then after that I'm almost back to sanity. So we'll get you on at the end of the month, and hopefully we'll get some new content from SWTOR. If not, we'll just talk geeky stuff, dude. We'll talk Venom. Hopefully all of us will see it by then and stuff. So be good, Skeen. Thanks for being in the chat, man. And Michaela, if you're still there, peace out.